Did you know that for Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the parade scene took multiple days of filming? Matthew Broderick spent some time practicing the dance moves. I was very scared, Broderick said. Fortunately, the sequence was carefully choreographed beforehand. We worked out all the moves by rehearsing in a little studio. It was shot on 2 Saturdays in the heart of downtown Chicago. The first day was during a real parade, and John got some very long shots. Then radio stations carried announcements inviting people to take part in a John Hughes movie. The word got around fast, and 10,000 people showed up. For the final shot, I turned around and saw a river of people. I put my hands up at the end of the number and heard this huge roar. I can understand how rock stars feel. That kind of reaction feeds you. 2. Mia Sara beat Molly Ringwald to the role of Sloane Peterson because, according to John Hughes, she had elegance. According to Ringwald, John wouldn't let me do it. He said that the part wasn't big enough for me. 3. John Hughes personally selected the songs for the film. 4. The shot of Ferris playing the clarinet was done on the spot. Did you know that for Back to the Future Part 2, this movie was the most advanced film of its time for using every trick in the book, according to Robert Zemeckis? It was in the late 1980s when the concept of CGI was starting. However, in the film, very few CGI effects were actually needed. 2. Crispin Glover sued the filmmakers as he had not granted permission to use his likeness in Part 2. Crispin ended up dropping the lawsuit after the case was settled out of court for $765,000 by Universal's insurance company, who decided it would be cheaper to pay Crispin than to go to trial. 3. Just before Marty and Doc leave 2015, there is a shot of the time machine's control panel showing the last time departed as November 12, 1955 at 6:38 p.m. If they had noticed this, they would have known someone had used the time machine without them. 4. When Hill Valley was created for Back to the Future, they built the town in the pristine 1955 condition and shot the middle of the movie, then damaged it for the 1985 town and shot the beginning and end of the movie. When they decided to shoot Back to the Future Part 2, they had to clean the setup and restore it to the same condition it was in 1955. It cost more to rebuild than it cost to build it from scratch. Did you know that for The Mask, it was based on a Dark Horse comic book series of the same name, which frequently comprised very dark horror stories on how the mask would unalive people with cartoon antics? Chuck Russell has said that the movie script started off in that tone before being transformed as a vehicle for Jim Carrey's unique comedy. 2. When the police are searching the mask's pants, they had the pants cut off at the knees with prop guys handing items through the bottom. 3. The role of Stanley Ipkiss was rewritten with Jim Carrey in mind. When director Chuck Russell gave the script to Carrey, he said, "I feel like this was written for me." 4. Years before Son of the Mask, there were at some point plans for The Mask 2, but that sequel was canceled after Jim Carrey declined to reprise his role. There was even a contest from Nintendo Power magazine where first prize was a walk-on role in that movie. In their final issue, they issued an apology to the winner of the contest. 5. The Mask asks, "Where's a camcorder when you need it?" when police surround him. This is a veiled reference to the Rodney King beating. Did you know that for The Breakfast Club, Judd Nelson, John Bender, went undercover at a local high school outside Chicago near where the film was shooting and convinced the teenagers that he was a legitimate student? After buying beer for them with his fake ID, he was 24 at the time, Nelson told them to drop him off at the hotel where the actors were staying. Years later, reflecting on his antics, Nelson said, "They would ask me why I was staying there, and I told them my dad was in jail. I'm staying at the Westin O'Hare while my dad's incarcerated." 2. Originally, only Claire was supposed to dance, but Molly Ringwald felt uncomfortable dancing alone, so John Hughes had the entire cast dance. Ringwald has said she regrets this because not only did she think her dancing was bad, her inability to do the dance solo led to the artifice of the MTV-type choreographed dancing, which she feels hurt the movie. 3. John Hughes said that before filming began, the cast rehearsed the entire movie a few times as if it were a play. After the film became a hit, Hughes was asked to write the script as a play, so high schoolers could perform it. Did you know that for Tropic Thunder, Ben Stiller said nearly all aspects of the Les Grossman character were developed by Tom Cruise, including the dancing and the look of the makeup? Stiller said that in addition to the more obvious makeup effects applied to Cruise's face and head, and the extra hair on his chest and arms, Cruise also decided to play the character wearing oversized prosthetic hands. 2. The character of Kirk Lazarus was originally written as Irish. It was changed to Australian, when Robert Downey Jr. said it would be easier for him to improvise in the Australian accent that he had already developed for natural-born killers. 3. Owen Wilson was originally set to play Rick Peck. After his attempted unaliving, Ben Stiller gave the role to Matthew McConaughey so that Owen could relax. 4. The water buffalo that Jeff Portnoy, Jack Black, rides turned out to be pregnant. The cast and crew found out it had been pregnant when they came to the set one morning and found her nursing a newborn calf. 5. Like his character, Kirk Lazarus, Robert Downey Jr. is a method actor and stayed in character as Sergeant Osiris Lazarus, even while cameras were not rolling. Did you know, for Free Guy, this was Alex Trebek's final appearance in a movie? Although Alex Trebek has hosted imaginary rounds of Jeopardy in films before, this appearance was filmed when he knew it was unlikely that he would live to see the result. He died in November of 2020, which was 9 months before the film was released, and 10 days after taping what he did not know would be his final episode of the show. 2. Ryan Reynolds personally talked to Mariah Carey for the rights to use her song, Fantasy, in the film. 3. Shortly after Guy buys his new shoes, a gin bottle-shaped power-up on the floor titled Subtle Product Placement is visible over his shoulder, a reference to Aviation American Gin, which Ryan Reynolds had a stake in and maintains an ongoing ownership interest. 4. The fictional Free City is based on Liberty City from Grand Theft Auto 3. In turn, Liberty City was inspired by the real-life New York. 5. A Deadpool poster can be seen on the wall behind the streamer Keith. Ryan Reynolds is known for playing Deadpool in a number of movies, shorts, and live-action appearances. 6. There are several vehicles from the Halo franchise that appear in the movie. Did you know that for Inside Out originally, joy would team up with fear rather than sadness? The creators thought they would be the funnier pairing. They went with sadness instead when Pete Docter was on a Sunday walk and then had a bad train of thought. He feared he'd get fired and lose his friends. Because of this, he realized Joy needed to know it was okay for sadness to be at the controls occasionally. 2. As Caitlin Diaz was 11 years old when cast as the voice of Riley, she went through puberty, and her voice deepened considerably. She had to adjust her voice to make it sound younger later in production. 3. Asked why Bing Bong was kept a secret during promotion, Pete Docter said, "We wanted to make sure he was a surprise to the audience because, as a filmmaker, I hate when you go and watch those trailers and they give away everything. You're like, okay, well, I guess I don't have to watch the movie." 4. Depending on the country of release, Riley's father daydreams about either hockey or soccer. 5. For the voice of toddler-age Riley, the producers recycled the old dialogue of Mary Gibbs, who provided the voice of Boo in Monsters, Inc. She's even listed in the credits under additional voices. Did you know that? Or Sonic the Hedgehog, Jim Carrey remarked during his press promotion for the film that very little of the dialogue from the pages of the script ended up in the movie. He also was given a lot of creative freedom for his nonverbal scenes, receiving basic instructions like, here's the room and this is the music. Just do something to go with it. 2. When the first teaser poster was released, Naoto Oshima, the character's original designer, and Yuji Naka, former head of Sonic Team, said they disliked Sonic's appearance. The first trailer caused a massive fan backlash. In May of 2019, director Jeff Fowler announced on Twitter that Sonic's design was going to be altered to make the character the best he can be. The movie's scheduled release moved from Thanksgiving weekend 2019 to Valentine's Day 2020. When a new trailer and poster were released in November of 2019, fans and critics alike praised Sonic's new look. 3. What attracted Jim Carrey to this project more than anything else was that his daughter was a big fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog games growing up. 4. Jim Carrey entirely improvised Dr. Robotnik's dance scene. Carrey also recommended the song Where Evil Grows, which he had heard as a child.